meaning in real life, during the time of this mission, this building that we were supposed to be infiltrating was already held by Allied forces. It makes absolutely no sense for these guards to be wearing this uniform at all. If the developers did any bit of research, they would know that this is just ridiculous. We also see this resistance fighter using an M14, which were made in the 1960s, 20 years after World War II. This shouldn't be here at all. If this mission really is meant to represent the battle that took place at the German garrison HQ, then they have it all wrong. Hello everybody, in today's video I'll be going over all of the historical inaccuracies in the mission Liberation in Call of Duty World War II. Before this video begins, I'm not a historian, but I do have a passion for World War II history, and I have been studying and collecting relics for a few years now. But if I do miss anything, let me know down in the comments below. At the end of this mission I'll be giving it a historical accuracy grade, so be sure to stay until the end. I hope you all enjoy the video, please like and subscribe if you do, and be sure to turn on post notifications to stay notified whenever the next episode comes out. I won't keep you any longer, so let's go ahead and get right into it. This mission begins with a cutscene inside the headquarters of the local French resistance, and we already come across the first inaccuracy. The garrison leader in Paris was General Dietrich von Koltitz. Karl Heinrich is a completely fictional character. We're now in a car and driving towards the garrison building. We're given our documents, and the information inside gives us our next inaccuracies. There was never a Commander Franz Spiegel in the German army during World War II. There was actually a Franz Spiegel, but he was an Obergefreiter, not a commander. He also died in 1942, so there's no way this is the same guy. Stepping out of the car and just looking around brings us to the next inaccuracies, these being some of the worst in the entire game. Starting off, we're placed in front of the Notre Dame Cathedral, which was in the hands of the French resistance by August 19th, 6 days before this mission even takes place. We're also shown that the German garrison headquarters is this building in front of the cathedral, which is wrong because this was not actually the building that was used as the HQ. This building in real life is the Prefecture of Police. And also on August 19th, 2,000 French police officers seized this building from inside by acting as if they were coming to work normally. They entered in small groups, and once enough were inside, they began disarming other officers who were loyal to the Nazis. In a couple of hours, and without much of a battle, they had control over the entire building and raised the French flag by noon. This building became one of the main headquarters used by the French resistance, and was occupied by them during the time of this mission. Meaning in real life, during the time of this mission, this building that we were supposed to be infiltrating was already held by Allied forces. So it just makes no sense for us to be attacking this building, when honestly, I think we could have had a much cooler mission if we acted as the police officers sneaking in as Rousseau or Crowley, and have the mission play out like it did in real life. The real building used by General Koltitz was about a mile away. Doing this moves the entire battle that this mission is supposed to be based on to a completely different spot, making this mission entirely inaccurate because it's not even in the right place. If this mission really is meant to represent the battle that took place at the German garrison HQ, then they have it all wrong. Like I said, it's moved to an entirely different spot in the city that was liberated by the time of this mission, and commanded by a fictional general. This completely breaks the historical accuracy of the entire mission because it's literally all just made up. We walk up to this guard and come across the next few inaccuracies. The uniform this guard is wearing is a black Allgemeine SS uniform, which was not used outside of Germany after 1940. In fact, these black uniforms were actually completely banned from use by the SS commander Heinrich Himmler in 1942. It makes absolutely no sense for these guards to be wearing this uniform at all. If the developers did any bit of research, they would know that this is just ridiculous. On top of that, the uniform itself is just wrong. They use the SS uniform base with an SS chevron and SS party armband, but mess it all up by using Wehrmacht collar tabs, and use a cap that's a mashup of an SS and Wehrmacht cap. The subtitles also label the guards as Gestapo, who are not the guards for this garrison. Moving on and taking a look at Crowley's uniform, which also happens to be the same uniform of every other officer in this building. We will notice that his order bar is filled with non-existent medals. Literally none of these exist. They closely resemble some real ones, but I can't find any that looked exactly like any of these. We make it past the guards and into the building. I don't know what the inside of the actual garrison looked like, so I can't tell you much here, but I know it is just way too calm for what the situation was actually like at this time. As we move through the building, we can steal a key from one of the guards and go down into the basement. Here we come across resistance fighters who are being held as POWs. There is no evidence of any French resistance fighters being held inside of the German garrison building in real life. Some were maybe kept briefly for questioning, but none were kept in cells like what's shown here. Making our way through the entire building, we finally meet up with Oberst Fischer. His uniform, of course, is also the same as everyone else's, but I'm going to nitpick on his more than the others. Despite him being the rank of Oberst, his shoulder boards have no pips to show that he is one. The shoulder boards in an Oberst uniform should always have 2 pips to indicate his rank. We finally make the briefcase exchange and make our way to plant the explosives at the gate. During this entire stealth segment here, it's just way too quiet. Paris was literally engulfed in fighting, and German forces were already retreating or surrendering during the time of this mission. 75% of Paris was in Allied hands by the time of August 25th, so there should at least be distant gunfire and explosions or just some indication that a major battle was happening outside. We finally make it to the gate and come across our next inaccuracy as we plant the explosives. There are letters you can find around the building that state the explosives were stolen from a German cache, but when we plant these explosives, they are clearly shown to be American dynamite sticks, and not any type of German explosive. The explosives at the gate are meant to detonate, to then kick off the final battle of Paris. This is just not how the battle started or went at all. The garrison was in an encirclement and had fighting happening literally everywhere around it. A column of tanks from the French 2nd Armored Division, supported by French resistance fighters, had already begun a frontal assault on the garrison around 1 p.m., which is again before this mission even takes place. They eventually pushed inside and cleared the hotel being used as a garrison room by room, before capturing General Koltitz in his own office. So in real life, it just went the completely opposite way than what's shown. This is all just a made-up sequence to make a fun mission.
Something's wrong. We should go now. Hold your fire. Get ready.
While we wait, we'll talk about the next inaccuracy. Daniels and the entire squad here are part of the 1st Infantry Division, which never participated in the liberation of Paris. The game even mentions the correct divisions at the beginning, but they still throw us in here just for the sake of making it a mission in the game. The dynamite on the gates explode, and the battle kicks off. Again, this is just not how it kicked off, but anyway, we can already see our next inaccuracy. The carry handle design on the BAR wasn't manufactured on the guns until December 1944, and was never issued during World War II, meaning Daniels or any other soldier here should never be seen with this gun. The BAR is fine, but the carry handle is not. This game is just riddled with little inaccuracies like this that would literally take just a single Google search to fix. The German soldiers shown defending the streets are also weirdly inaccurate. They use helmets that only have a tricolor decal, which never existed as a helmet design at any point in time during the war. On top of that, the tricolor decal was no longer put on helmets after 1941, so this type of helmet just shouldn't be here at all. It's entirely fictional. You also see them wearing field caps, which isn't completely inaccurate, but they're far too common, and the field cap itself is also designed wrong. They're shown to have an eagle on the side, which was only present on SS field caps, but they are given to regular hair infantrymen. A lot of them were also seen wearing overcoats, which weren't really ever worn until September. The last inaccuracy with their uniforms is that the color for this tunic literally never existed at any point in time during the war either. They had multiple real examples to choose from, but still just made something up. We pushed through the streets in intense combat that captured the Battle of Paris fairly well, at least from how the fighting in the streets looked. French resistance fighters take positions in buildings, firing on German soldiers from balconies, and some going into direct combat in the street. The only problem I have with this sequence here is that no tanks are shown at all. The French 2nd Armored Division basically led the assault on the garrison and played a vital role in the battle. But again, absolutely no tanks are shown throughout the entire mission. But again, other than there being no tanks, the fighting here looks and feels similar to what the fighting was actually like in the streets of Paris. German lines fell quickly and resistance fighters took positions in every place they could. There were plenty of weird little inaccuracies during this segment though. Starting off, during the gunfight on the bridge, a resistance fighter begins yelling for help in perfect English with an American accent after being injured. We also see this resistance fighter using an M14, which were made in the 1960s, 20 years after World War II. This shouldn't be here at all. We can also use an M1 Garand, which has sights that are just way too big compared to the real gun. We also push the bolt forward every time we reload, which isn't totally inaccurate, but every time is, because the Garand was designed to have the bolt automatically close after pushing the clip in, which would cause the iconic M1 thumb, or Garand thumb. We also see some Germans using the FG-42 and Waffe-28. The FG-42 was only ever given to Luftwaffe units, and was only used by Heer if they picked him up or got him from a Luftwaffe soldier. And the Waffe-28 was very rarely ever used by the Heer. On top of that, it's incorrectly named and should be called the MP-28. After clearing the streets, we regroup with Crowley and Rousseau to begin the assault on the inside of the garrison. Before we breach the door, Crowley loots the body of a fallen German soldier, who for some reason has an American M97 trench gun. We then use the shotgun to breach and clear the lobby, and for some reason, this gun can hold up to 7 shells, when the real-life gun it's modeled after can only hold up to 6. We breach another room and clear it out, taking some Germans as POWs, then take position at the hole in the wall to hold off a German counterattack using a Kar 98K sniper rifle.
Here they come. Daniel's aim for the right. Everyone else, wait till...
The problem here is that whenever you reload, you somehow push a stripper clip in, when having this scope here would literally make it impossible to do. We hold off the German infantry, and then some half-tracks roll in to reinforce them.
Half-tracks coming across that far bridge.
There is no record of half-tracks being used at all by the Germans during the defense of the garrison. They were present during the initial battle and used heavily in counterattacks like this, but by the time of the final defense of Paris and the garrison, there's no documentation of them being used by the Germans. During the defense of the garrison, our position gets lit up with panzer strikes and we're forced to jump out, landing in the street.
Incoming half-track.
Another half-track that shouldn't be here pulls up, and we're told,
Daniel, grab that panzer track and take out that half-track.
which we do, causing the German forces to finally retreat from the area. We are then brought to the last inaccuracy as we regroup with Rousseau, and she says,
We did it! The Ghost forces are entering the city.
the Gauls forces, specifically the 9th Company of the French 2nd Armored Division, had already entered Paris a day before this mission takes place, so this just makes no sense at all. Now that we're at the end of the mission, it's time to give it a historical accuracy grade. A lot of the most important parts of this mission were completely made up, if this is actually meant to be based on the real battle surrounding the German garrison HQ, and the capture of General Coltitz. The entire battle is literally moved to a completely different part of Paris that was already in the hands of the French resistance days before this mission. Basically everything in this mission is either fictionalized or changed around to work better as a mission in the game. The 1st Infantry Division was literally never even involved in this battle, and they say that at the start of the mission and everything. While it does capture the overall feel of what the fighting was like, if it's meant to specifically represent this battle, then it gets almost everything wrong. With all of those inaccuracies added up, I have to give this mission a grade of 30 out of 100. That's a really harsh grade, but so far not a single mission in this game has scored above a 50, but I think this one's completely deserved. There are just too many mistakes that seriously hurt the mission's historical accuracy. Even if I didn't include every small inaccuracy like I do in the other missions, like the uniforms and the guns, I would probably still give it around the same score. But if this mission had actually been set in the correct part of Paris and followed the real events of the battle more closely, then of course it would have received a much higher grade. But it didn't, so it gets a 30. That will be it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments below if I missed anything or if you think this mission deserves a different grade. I hope you all enjoyed watching. Please like and subscribe if you did. Be sure to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next video in this series. Hope to see you all there. Goodbye.